Hello everyone, welcome back. Today, I, Shivansh Bansal, one of the founders at Law Community, comes with another amazing personality. She's corporate lawyer, company secretary, member at ICC of ITC Limited, and she's associate partner with Arcus and Partners, and she has worked immensely in corporate law and especially in insolvency and bankruptcy code. And we are here to know more about her journey. So, ma'am, my first question is, what inspired you to pursue law after BCom? And can you share your experience at law school with us?
Yeah, sure. So, Shivansh, I would first start with my a brief background as to why I pursued law after BCom. Because when I did BCom, I did it from St. Xavier's, Calcutta. And when I graduated, and simultaneously, I also completed my CS as a profession. And then I took up law because after studying CS, I had realized that my main interest lies in laws, and CS is also all about laws. And then I thought that why not pursue law if my interest lies in laws? So I pursued law and I studied in Calcutta University as a 3-year course. And as a law school student, while I had already read CS and I was not much interested in attendance, but then I realized it later, like in the second half of my first year, and then I started attending the regular classes. And as a law school student, I would actually suggest you guys to be more attentive in the class rather than taking notes and studying it at a later point in time. And just small lectures gives you big lessons. So yeah, that's what my takeaway was from the law school.
Okay, ma'am. So my next question is, what is your take on the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code amendment in 2020, and was it the step forward in the field of insolvency and bankruptcy?
So this is a quite a debatable topic when you talk about IBC Amendment 2020. Why I say this is because as an amendment, it's okay when you uh, actually tinker a law and you actually debar the applications to be filed against the company because you think of the economy as a whole. But the drafting of the amendment is actually uh, very poor, which I must say, as also said by eminent lawyers in this field, because there are so many loopholes and it is open to interpretation. And the courts, in the given point of time, it will be open to the courts for the interpretation, and then there will be so many views because many NCLTs, as I say, adjudicating authorities under IBC will have different opinions as to which amendment is prospective, which amendment is good for economy, which amendment is not good for the economy, or something like that. But but if you ask about my view, I was quite apprehended about the amendment because uh, see, IBC is not a law which actually makes the company go into liquidation eventually. There have been recovery rates for the banks, for the operational creditors, and basically it is a savior law. Basically, why I say this, because you need to go through a process where you invite bids, and if it is a actually a good company, there are potential investors who would like to invest in your company and give your company a life. So my my view is not that great about the amendment. Still, when it was announced, it was very negative in nature, but as it had come out in the bill, it is still a savior for the other companies which have not defaulted after 25th March, and it is not due to COVID.
So, what was your motive behind pursuing law along with company secretary?
Yeah, so as I already deliberated upon it, that I completed my CS before I started my law. And while I was doing CS, I eventually developed my interest in law. And I was equally interested in accountancy and finance. So I did my BCom, and then along with that I did CS, and then I did law. And as we as everybody, I think in your college, in your colleges also, everybody must be saying it that a CS and a lawyer goes hand in hand or something like that. So when you are doing law, you do CS because you know that both the subjects are same, and more or less the curriculum is also similar, and ultimately you are actually reading both the laws, uh, I mean both the subjects simultaneously. So I think it goes hand in hand. While you're doing CS, you can complete your law, and while you're doing law, you can complete your CS. And if you want to actually specialize in a corporate lawyer practice, as I am a corporate practitioner, then I would actually recommend doing CS because it gives you in-depth knowledge of corporate laws. Because as a law student, uh, I always used to have a this I mean set aside feeling for Companies Act, because I could have feared if I was only a law student, but as a CS student also, I never feared law. So
Okay, ma'am. So my next question is, how has the legal sector have been affected due to pandemic situation, and what's your take on that?
do I tell you the first positive effects or the negative effects?
As you like.
Okay, first I would like to take negative effects to it, um, which are not many. So due to pandemic, all the litigations which were happening on an urgent basis, on a day-to-day basis, and we used to see that there are minimum of 10 lakhs cases listed in at least one state, or even more than 10 lakhs. I mean, just taking a very small number of size. But uh, the litigation has actually taken a standstill. It has taken a back because only urgent matters are being taken up, and there are not many matters which are being considered as urgent. Because what is the urgency in an IBC liquidation application? They have already been excluded. What is the urgency in getting a resolution plan approved during the pandemic? Because the resolution applicants might take a step back, that they might not invest in the company as they had already agreed to do earlier while submitting the resolution plan. So just giving you a small example of that, the litigation part has taken a back. However, the corporate side of the law, I don't think that it has got a hindrance even a percent, because corporate law work is still happening, and the dealings are still going on, the meetings are still going on. So law sector corporate wise is still okay, but the litigation has taken a back. Now the positive effect of pandemic on the litigation, if you see, for the first time, Supreme Court has started e-hearings, which is virtual hearing basically of the cases. So here the lawyers are also learning how to present your case virtually, and everything has gone. The new normal is the virtual normal. So and the courts have uh, very nicely adopted the new normal, and I think even the lower courts would start e-hearings, and as the time passes by, they will actually think about the virtual mode of hearings, plus the physical mode. Of course, it cannot be done away with, but they will also have this additional mode of hearing, which is the virtual. That has happened because of pandemic. It was in obviously it was in talks since a long time, but I don't think so that it was in place. But due to this pandemic, this has actually taken a seat.
So, how is it like working in a law firm? What challenges did you face at the nascent stage while you joined the firm?
So, joining a law firm is the only thing which a lawyer looks forward to. So, we don't have any other option. Either you start your own practice or you join a law firm. And but what I would suggest, as a first generation lawyer, you should actually get into a law firm, learn the tactics of how to handle work and pressure, and be happy. So, and happy, and also having the mental peace along with that. So I would suggest that if you're joining a law firm, you should be well versed with what you are good at. What are your edges? If you're not good at drafting, you will have to improve it. There is no magic formula that you will learn drafting in a day if you join a law firm. It should be within you that you need to learn drafting. Secondly, you need to be very, very, very well versed with the ongoing amendments and laws which are moving in and taking place, because each day we see that it's a very challenging environment. And it has become a survival of the fittest environment, and you need to have that something extra within yourself to prove that you are better, or rather you are better than yesterday, and that capability of working hard if given a very challenging environment. So I think this is something which you need to do. And I faced a challenge because I was always with a corporate background, and I had to learn the civil litigation as well, and I'm still learning, of course. But as a corporate lawyer, you don't think that forward like a civil litigation lawyer does. So you need to have that habit, and I faced it as a very big challenge because I had no background apart from my internships and everything. But yeah, internships plays a very vital role. So look forward when you actually go for an internship, you learn everything in depth, and I don't think that you will have to face any problems or challenges at the initial stage of the law firm. And after that, as you grow, the problems also grow.
So my next question is, you have worked as an external member of ICC. Could you share
Yeah.
the work and experience of yours while you were working with it?
Yeah, I'm still working as an external member of the ICC, which is the Internal Complaints Committee of ITC Limited, Ahmedabad division. And what my experience has been since last 2 years, that I am the external member, and I have been given the responsibility of taking care of the compliances which are prescribed under Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. And basically, it is an act of prevention of anti-sexual harassment and at the workplace. So we keep on taking the monthly meetings with the because the female employees are the members of the committee, and all the male members are also invited to attend the workshops, because we conduct one workshop per year. And I'm also a member of she, which is the she power development for women empowerment. And it is an organization, basically it is an NGO, and through which I got to attend the ITC limited meeting, because there's a minimum criteria that somebody who has an experience of being a member of that community. So I was a member of she, and then I started with ITC, and then it is basically interaction. It is basically an interaction between the people who are working together and in my presence. So if they have any problem at any workplace, then we apprise them that this is the path that you need to follow, and you can actually raise your grievances, and those grievances will be then addressed by the committee, and they will be then answered. So I think as far as my experience is concerned, apart from the corporate culture that I also deal in, I think this was a very new experience that I had. Interaction between the men and women, making them understand that this is your law, this is your rights, this is your duty. So everything was really nice.
So, what advice or suggestion would you like to give to those professionals who have just started their career in law, or to the law students who are still studying and want to pursue in corporate law?
So for the first set of students who have just started law, my advice would be read, read, read. This is not the end, and you will have to read for your lifetime. And this is just a myth that once you qualify law, you will be given a very lavish life or something like that. You will be given this pay package. No, this is not happening. This is not the real world. And the real world starts once you step out of your college, and with a degree in hand, and with your resume, and seeking your job opportunity. The real world starts there. And once you step into the real world, you should know your potentials. You should identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and more than strength, you need to identify your weakness, because that is the part where you need to work on. Because it is not a world where there are so many perfectionists, and you will not be a perfectionist. So we are all striving to become a perfectionist, and in order to become a perfectionist, you need to identify your weaknesses. And once you identify your weaknesses, you are one of the strongest person you would ever come across. So I would like to actually give them this advice, that you will have to read a lot, and start drafting from the very first year. Don't think that we will start drafting in the third year. Start writing blogs, start writing articles, and get it checked by a senior, or get it vetted by your teacher, or when you start going for internships, pick out a senior who will be helpful to you, and then you start giving your articles or your blog or your knowledge snippets or anything of that sort, where you get that habit of drafting something, writing something of your own. And you don't go on Google and write on the topic. Like, you read, but you don't take the words out of that topic, but you start delivering on your own. And once you get that habit, you have got 5 years, or rather 3 years, of your student life to unleash that potential of yours. And drafting is one such area where not much lawyers are very famous for. So if you actually want to have an edge, you need to have that edge on drafting. And for drafting, you need to start from day zero. There is no magic formula of learning the drafting. And for the corporate lawyers, I think if you've already identified your interest, where you want to end up as, then I think you will have to read a lot about the corporate eminent lawyers. You need to have an idol. You need to follow an inspiration, because to have an inspiration, I think, gives you that kickstart of how to start your journey, of how to take up the challenges, because everybody has faced the challenges. And as an eminent lawyer in the corporate field also, I have seen a lot of interviews, I have seen a lot of struggle story and everything, but they have reached there, and they had that thing that they will have to reach there. So I think as a corporate lawyer also, you need to identify which corporate side which would you like to work upon. There are so many areas, read about it. There are mergers, there are banking, there are finance, there are taxation lawyers. So you need to identify your area. This is what I would say. However, I would also like to recommend that apart from identifying the specialized area of yours, you should have an idea of everything as a whole. Because as a lawyer, you are not expected to sit before your client and say, "Sorry, this is not my area. I don't know what law this is." Say if you are advising a company and you are asked to prepare an appointment letter for template, so you can't say that, "I don't know maternity benefit act. I don't know actually the provisions of the maternity benefit act, and I need to consult a different lawyer for this." Obviously, you should be able to have that challenges in your mind while you are preparing an appointment letter. So 10 years down the line, if you're given a work, if you're given an assignment, for the client, you can't say that this was out of syllabus. Obviously, as a student, we are supposed to say that, but for a client, we can't say that. So just have that in mind, and start your journey that way.
Okay, ma'am. Last but not the least, how can organization like law community prove beneficial to the legal fraternity, and what new avenues are expected by the legal professionals such as yourself?
Yeah, so for law community, as I got to know about this, so I had searched it on Google, and I tried to dig out more information on law community when I was approached. And then I thought it is a very interactive forum where you are actually giving out the practical experiences, which I would like to share my experience with the legal students or the law students in colleges. But it is not possible for a person to reach out thousands of colleges, right? But for a platform, but with the help of a platform like law community, I think it's really helpful. You can actually expand your bandwidth with this, and you can actually start you can actually just an idea, just a random idea, it got just clicked in my mind, and I think you can start taking a quiz. Say for example, you are involving legal professionals as the quiz masters who will be preparing the quiz and giving it to you. and then you will be inviting students. So for the first time you may invite 50 students, and then I mean obviously you have your I mean, you have got very innovative thinking. So I've just given an idea, like you can organize a quiz and everything, since is going on virtually. I think you can take up like that, and then I I have not much read about how other organizations works like this, but if I don't think there are many organizations that like law community. So I think you guys are doing a great job, and you should do it way forward.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for having such an amazing interaction with us. It will definitely gonna benefit a lot of young-minded people, and law community is grateful for the same. Thank you so much, ma'am.